Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Katie. If you're new here, welcome. So it's been a while since I did a video. I think it's been about a month since I last did a video, and that's due to like a few different things, mainly like mental health and stuff, but I'm back to doing my videos now. Really excited to film today. And as I did last year, because it's coming up to the middle of the year already, which is absolutely crazy. I can't believe it's like the middle of May already. I thought I would talk about my favourite reads of the year so far. So far this year I've read 31 books, and obviously I've enjoyed the majority of the books I've read so far, but obviously there's some that stand out. So I'm going to get straight into this, talk about some of my favourite reads of the year so far. The first one I have to talk about is the first in a middle grade fantasy series called Keeper of Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger. I learned about this series by watching one of Reagan's reading blogs on Peru's Project, and absolutely love this series. Yeah, this is the first one. There are 6 books out. The 7th book is out in October. I'm not sure if it's going to be the last book, but I kind of binge read these. I've up to the 4th one. I read one after the other straight away, which I haven't done for ages for the series. It was lovely to binge it. But yeah, it's about a young girl called Sophie Foster who is 11 years old, and she is a telepath. And she lives with her mum and dad and her younger sister, has an ordinary normal life, does well in school. Then a mysterious boy turns up on a school field trip called Fitz, who takes her to this like other realm basically of where he lives, and tells her that she is an elf. So I'm not going to say any more than that because I might spoil it, but yeah, Sophie Foster is a really lovely little girl, really nice protagonist in the story. Already out of this series, I already have a new favourite book character, and I'm not going to say who it is because obviously it might spoil things for you, but yeah, I do highly recommend this. I'm so glad Reagan read these and told me about them, or told everybody about them, because I absolutely love them. So yeah, definitely going to be an all-time favourite series. The next one I have to talk about is Nevermore by Jessica Townsend. I read this... when did I read this? When did I read this? Right at the start of the year, more or less. I think it was like January time, from what I've seen on Goodreads anyway. But yeah, most people already know what Nevermore is about, but I will just briefly explain. It's about a little girl who's on the front cover called Morrigan Crow, who is 10 years old, and she is told on her 11th birthday that she's been told all her life that she's cursed, and on her 11th birthday she is going to die. Her 11th birthday arrives, and a character called Jupiter North arrives, similar to kind of Keeper of the Lost Cities kind of thing. A character called Jupiter North arrives, tells Morrigan Crow all about this secret world, and takes her there to this town of Nevermore, where she has to compete in some magical trials to prove if she's worthy to join the elite team. Join an elite team of people who work in a school that help all the gifted children. So it's all about all these magical trials that she goes through and all the struggles that she goes through, discovering power she didn't even know she had. I'm not going to tell you anymore actually because it will spoil it, but yeah, absolutely love Nevermore. Gave this a 5-star rating. I also gave Keeper of the Lost Cities, the first one, 3.5 stars. But I still did really immensely enjoy it, and the series just gets better and better. But yeah, I gave this one 5 stars. The next one I have to talk about, I have a book group on Facebook where we all read together. It's like a monthly read-along group where we all read different books every month as a group, and this was one of the picks. I'm so glad it was. It's Shining by Stephen King. I absolutely love this book. I've read about 5 books. Oh, my back. I'm sitting on the floor, so it hurts my back a bit. Read like 5 books by Stephen King, and I listened to the audiobook of this one. But obviously bought the physical copy because, you know, I have to have the physical copy on my shelf, you know, as a lot of readers do. But yeah, listen to the audiobook. It's absolutely awesome. I think I would have enjoyed this anyway, but I think the audiobook definitely added to my enjoyment of this book. I'm sure most people already know what it's about, but again, it's about a little boy called Danny who's about 5 years old, who has strange abilities. He's kind of like supernatural abilities, and he can sense when things are wrong with people, when scary things are going to happen, weird things. It's really hard to explain unless you've read it or you've watched the movie. I wouldn't really recommend watching the movie. I finished the book, and on the same night me and Lee watched the movie. And while Jack Nicholson really portrays Jack Torrance so well in the movie, like really well in the movie, book was obviously 10 times better than that. I won't say too much about it again in case you haven't read it. I know a lot of people have heard about it, but again, I gave this book 5 stars as well. The other book was awesome. The narrator, I can't remember the narrator's name. I'm terrible. I can't remember the narrator's name. But if you do have a chance to listen to this on Audible, would recommend listening to it because the narrator made it that much more atmospheric and that much more scary. It was awesome. So I loved that book. Another one that was a good pick on Facebook was Scythe by Neil Shusterman. This book was so good, such a good book. I don't know why, and I can't believe why I waited so long to read this book because it was so good. It's described as like a utopia, but I think it's more like dystopia, basically, right? As you can tell by the title and the person on the cover, the Scythe. They live in this place called Mid-America. It's set in the future, and all famine and disease and death has been eradicated. Nobody can die. Nobody can die from illness, natural causes, or anything like that. Accidents. Say if somebody got hit by a car, they'll be taken to like a rehabilitation centre and be revived, and within 2 or 3 days they're up and they're alive and they're well again. And the only way they can die is if they are gleaned, essentially murdered, by these scythes. So there is a scythe called Scythe Faraday, who is one of the most respected and well-known scythes in Mid-America. And he has to take on an apprentice to train to become a scythe, to take his place when it's his time to no longer be a scythe, or when he dies. Scythes can die. They're the only ones that can die. But he takes on 2 apprentices, Citra and Rowan, who are both 16 years old and who are both going to be trained to be Scythe Faraday's apprentices. So I'm not going to say any more about it because it may spoil it. Read it if you haven't read it yet. I immediately wanted to read the sequel, Thunderhead, because I got Thunderhead on my bookshelf as well. But the third one, The Toll, isn't out until October. And if I'd have read this one, like I did, and read Thunderhead straight away, I would have had to wait about 5-6 months for the third one on, and I just couldn't do it. So I've had to wait to read Thunderhead. So I started reading Keeper of the Lost Cities to like tide me over. But yeah, this was awesome. This is one of the best books I've read in a long time. It's one of my all-time favourite books now. One of my all-time favourite books. I love books that make you think. And essentially, this could happen. This could happen in the future. I mean, it's probably unlikely, but it's plausible. So, absolutely loved this book. So much more than I thought I was going to. I love Neil Shusterman's writing style. I love his writing now. I bought his other book which he wrote with his son Jared Shusterman, which is called Dry, which is all about a massive drought happening. So while his books are good, they're scary, if you know what I mean, because it could happen. So yeah, I gave this 5 stars as well. Absolutely love this book. Please read it. I know from what I said on BookTube, I didn't really hear about this until Thunderhead come out, and then when Thunderhead come out, everyone was talking about this. So please read it. Let me know what you think. The next one I received in a BookBox subscription just at the end of last year, but I read it at the start of January. And it is called Christmas Cakes and Mistletoe Nights by Carol Matthews. I've read, when I was younger, about 4 or 5 books of Carol Matthews, and they're normally contemporary romance, which I don't normally tend to like, but because it's set around Christmas, I thought I would read it, and I absolutely loved this book. What I didn't realise is it's basically the second book in a duology, but it didn't matter, because nothing was really said about the first one in this one. You could read this one as a standalone, but once I found out it was a duology, I did read the other one after this one, so while they were like technically in the wrong order, it didn't really matter. Really, really sweet Christmas story about a main character called Faye, who's about 40, mid-40s. She obviously works in a cake shop. She cares for her ill mother, and instead of having to go out to work, she refurbishes the downstairs of her house into a cake shop, where she works there with a lady called Lijah. She's Polish, and she's absolutely awesome. This character, Lijah, she's got bad temper and uses bad language, but she's awesome. She meets a mysterious man called Danny who helps do some repairs on the cafe. But yeah, I won't say too much more about it again. It's just a really, really sweet, cute, thoughtful book about a lady and her struggles and her responsibilities, and not always being treated very fairly, despite the fact that all she does is help other people. But yeah, I love this book. I read it obviously just at the right time, literally just after Christmas. Gave this one 5 stars as well. I do really like Carol Matthews' books. I really like her writing, and in this kind of weather as well, because the weather is absolutely lovely in the time of year, her books are perfect. I've got another one of hers on my shelf called A Cottage by the Sea. I may read it soon, again, because of the lovely weather. I've sit outside or sit by the window in the sun and read. But yeah, I highly recommend this one as well. Again, you don't have to read it around Christmas, but obviously it all adds to the atmosphere if you do read it around Christmas. But yeah, I love this one. The next one is a graphic novel that I've had for a long time and for some reason just haven't picked up. I finished, sorry, I can't speak today, finished Scythe by Neil Schusterman. Kind of put me in a little bit of a book hangover, so I thought a graphic novel would be a good way to go. And this is a really big graphic novel actually. It's called Fake Blood. It's really heavy as well. Fake Blood by Whitney Gardner. Right, I read 2 of Whitney Gardner's books last year and I absolutely love them. They were called Your Welcome Universe, and I can't remember Chaotic Good was the other one. That's the one. And love them. So I knew she was coming out with this, but I forgot when. So I went on Amazon and double checked again, and it was out, so I bought it. And as you can tell, if you can see, it's all about, well, focus. It's about vampires, about this little boy, what's his name? AJ. He is in middle school. He's about 14, and he has a crush on this girl who is obsessed with vampires. Think like, you know, when the whole like Twilight era was around and everybody was obsessed with vampires. It's kind of like that. And while I will say Whitney Gardner and some of the things in this poke fun at Twilight and like Vampire Academy and other books, but it's done in a really funny way. It's not in a nasty way, but it's all about this boy trying to come to terms with the fact that he's got a crush on this girl and trying to find out more about it. And while it's good, don't mean this to sound strange, there's no actually a real big plot point to it. It's just about these kids in high school learning to figure out how to like be themselves and how to accept themselves whilst trying to kind of conform to what they think someone wants them to be, if you know what I mean. It's all about kind of like identifying yourself and being comfortable in your own skin, essentially. But yeah, it's funny. Some beautiful illustrations, like the drawings. Love the drawings. Whitney Gardner drew them herself. She did everything herself in this graphic novel. Highly recommend it. Really fun. Really, really quick read. Despite the fact it's about 300 something pages, took me about an hour to read it. Loved it. Highly recommend it. Gave this 5 stars too. And the last book I have to talk about has, again, like I said with Scythe, become one of my all-time favourite books, like ever, and that's because it's about 2 of my all-time favourite characters. If you're familiar with the Shadowhunter series, the Shadowhunter World by Cassandra Clare, which is the Mortal Instruments, the Infernal Devices and the Dark Artificer series, you'll know who I'm talking about. It's the first book in the Red Scrolls of Magic by Cassandra Clare, and it's all about Magnus Bane and Alec Lightwood. If you haven't read the Mortal Instruments, then I wouldn't read this yet. I'll read this after because it's going to spoil it. It's essentially about these two just after City of Grass, which is the 3rd book in the Mortal Instruments, when they finally become a couple, and it's the first time they're going away on a holiday together. And if you are familiar with Magnus and Alec, you'll know nothing ever really goes to plan. So while they are on holiday, they get attacked by demons and have to figure out what's going on. And at some point in the past, because obviously Magnus is a warlock, Magnus Bane is a warlock, and he's about 300 years old. So sometime in the past, he got drunk with one of his warlock friends, Ragnar Fell, and he is accused of starting a cult, like a really evil cult. And he has no recollection of it because someone has stolen his memories. So it's them trying to figure out if this cult does exist, if he did actually create it, whether he meant to or not. With loads of plot twists, those other things, loads of characters introduced. Love the story. Right from the start, there's action. Sometimes with Cassandra Clare, while I like her books, sometimes the starts can be a little bit slow and a bit slow burning. But literally, right from the first 5 pages, action is happening, things are happening all the way through this book. Couldn't put it down. I was reading Scythe, I was halfway through Scythe, and this arrived. So I put Scythe down, I read this, and then finished Scythe. But yeah, absolutely love this one. I could read about these all day long. I've been saying to Lee for absolutely ages, I need a book just about Magnus and Alec, and finally I have one. So yeah, the first one in the Red Scrolls of Magic. I don't know if it's going to be a trilogy. I'm not too sure how many books are going to be. I'll be absolutely loved it again. Gave this book 5 stars. Absolutely loved it. I was just so sad that it was over. I need more, like, now. I need more now. It's so good. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I'm so happy to be back filming. I've missed it. I'm kind of a bit out of practice, so if I'm a bit like mumbly, and not mumbly, but like, you know, talking a bit too much and talking a bit too fast, I do apologise. I'm just really happy really happy to finally feel better in myself and be back to filming because I've really missed it. So if you guys did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up, click the notification bell icon so you'll be notified whenever I post, and thank you very much for watching.